Hello and welcome to our 47th episode of Yo-Yo Talk. It's been 1 month since our last episode, and if you haven't noticed, we have gone to a monthly schedule. The first Thursday of each month, we are on live at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for those that are watching right now, you already know that, but for those that are watching it live, or non-live, I should say, later, be aware you can take part in the fun by signing in while the show is live and posting your comments. We love the interaction with you guys. And if you are a first-timer tonight, please let us know in the comments section so we can ask you why it took you so long to join us. Now, we've got a lot of good stuff tonight. Most importantly, I made a little trip with Sean to Knoxville just this last month to see Kevin Walters, who is the grandson of Pedro Flores. He has been posting some amazing stuff on Yo-Yo Talk's group page, and check that stuff out. And this has been going on the last couple months. And man, I learned a lot of stuff when we were there. I didn't know a lot of these things, and this is going to change the history of the yo-yo due to his family's generosity in letting us film and scan all their documents and the items in Pedro Flores' personal collection. So now, there was a price we had to pay for letting us film. Kevin made Sean ride a mechanical bull at Kevin's favorite Western bar. This was Sean's 13th attempt, I believe. And I might add, it is rumored to be his best attempt. And that little video is impossible to get out of your mind without the consumption of a large amount of ethanol. Sean has now scratched off his list of possible future jobs as a professional bull rider. And I think, Sean, that is a wise decision. Very wise decision, Sean. Okay, so the highlight of this show will be a clip of where I show you some of this stuff right there in Pedro Flores' granddaughter's home. During our visit, we saw this great stuff. You can see the stuff laid out there. There's boxes full of paperwork and yo-yos, and I am working on a documentary on the history of the yo-yo. I'm going to try to correct a lot of misinformation that has been disseminated over the years. And I think those of us that are really interested in the history of the yo-yo are a little bit obligated to get the history right and not repeat myths of the past. A good portion of early yo-yo history we've gotten wrong for a long time, so we will be correcting that. And speaking of yo-yo history needing to be corrected, I am going to use that little thread to segue into a question that was posted on Yo-Yo Talk's group page by Fast Eddie McDonald. He asked about whether or not the yo-yo was used as a weapon in the Philippines. And I've addressed this subject before on an earlier show, but I think it's an important fact to understand because there's always a lot of commentary on this topic. And I think the question actually should be broken down into two parts. First, was it used as a hunting tool in the Philippines where a rock had a cord wrapped around it and presumably was released, allowing it to recoil back up into the hands of the hunter, who happened to be sitting in a tree on a limb, and in case he missed hitting the prey, the idea was that it would come back. Well, the physics pretty much discounts this as a possibility. Gravitational forces are converted into rotational forces when yo-yo is dropped, and this slows the descent of the yo-yo, making this a very impractical way to kill prey. Now, did hunters attach a rope to a stone and drop this stone and then, coil it back up? Yeah, probably so. That's very reasonable, but it wasn't used as a yo-yo. Now, the second question is, was the yo-yo ever used by Filipinos as a weapon? And the story kind of went like this. For a long time, demonstrators told this story of it being used as a weapon by Filipino warriors. Matter of fact, there was a Duncan demonstrator who I can't remember the name of, made the claim that he was the one who made up the story. And maybe some of our viewers out there can kind of chime in if you know which one of those demonstrators claimed to have made up the story about the Filipinos using it as a weapon of war. So, for decades, we went along thinking that this was a fairy tale made up to promote yo-yos. There was no documentation of this ever being used as a weapon, although some folks from the Philippines were saying, yeah, it was, but they didn't have any documentation, so we kind of ignored it. But now we know it was used as a weapon. We just don't know how. And why do I say this? Because we have very good documentation from a letter written by Jose Rizal, who is like the George Washington of the Philippines. He was executed by the Spanish in 1896. There's a Jose Rizal Day in the Philippines, and Jose Rizal was a hero of Pedro Flores. As a matter of fact, Pedro Flores attended many celebrations honoring Jose Rizal. Jose Rizal, kind of going back a little bit in history too, was probably the first person to actually bring the yo-yo to the United States and demonstrate it and call it a yo-yo. But unlike Pedro Flores, he did not promote the yo-yo when he was here in the United States, or he didn't sell it either. He was a politician and he was making the rounds politically in the United States, and it was an interesting thing to show people. And I doubt even Pedro even knew that Rizal brought the yo-yo with him on his trip, because Pedro would have been 3 at the time. That was when, I think, when Rizal was executed anyway. He came over to the United States a few years before that. So anyway, Rizal wrote in his journal, which is in the Filipino National Archives, this note. And it said, nope, that's not the note there, Sean. Did you already show the note? There it is. Okay, so he says in there, and this is why he's on the ship, I met many people, and there, as I had with me a yo-yo, the Europeans and Americans were astonished to see how I used it as a weapon of attack. So there you have it. Now this is like, you know, you can refute this if you want by calling Jose Rizal a liar, like calling George Washington a liar, but I don't think so. What we don't know is how Rizal was using it as a weapon, and there's been a lot of speculation on this conversation. It may have been using it like a sarong. They use that in some martial arts thing. Can you run that clip of... There you go. Okay, so it may have been just thrown out and just to kind of scare the opposing person by throwing it in their face, but that's not a great weapon. But the other way is using the cord to maybe use it as a martial arts type thing, and you can see there where it could actually be used. So that's one theory. I have no idea how it was used, but the question still remains, how was it used as a weapon? And please feel free to comment. But anyway, those are our thoughts on that. So anyway, going back to last month's show, the folks that won the contest, the person that won the lightning round was Jay Madigan, a non-yo-yo player, a non-thrower. That was because he guessed correctly how much the weight of that original Flores yo-yo was, and it was 34 grams. So that was just a guessing thing. So anybody could have picked that one up, I guess. And in the pop quiz, we had the Nickinator in his 4-month dry spell. Yo-yo. That's the one in the upper right. The questions were, who did the artwork on this yo-yo, and who's the actress on the other yo-yo? And the answers were, of course, John Higbee for that rainbow yo-yo. And then Farrah Fawcett was the actress on that other yo-yo. And when so we did confirm that the Nickinator had regained his crown. So he is riding the wave right now. We'll see how he does on these quizzes tonight, if he is watching. Anyway, it's about time to see what our prize package is for the pop quiz that will be on near the end of the show. So, Sean, let's see what everybody is playing for tonight. As usual, we've got a lot of great stuff for our prize package tonight. This is, of course, for the pop quiz, which will be at the end of the show. All you have to do is beat guys like the Nickinator, and you can take home all these goodies. Yes. So we've got a Duncan baseball cap up there, and right next to that we've got a couple of yo-yo balls, and you can argue whether those are true yo-yos or not, but I discussed that in the Christmas episode. That was episode 36, so if you want to review that, you can. But that's a Knott's yo-yo ball, and right next to it is just another nondescript yo-yo ball. The Knott's was the first one released back in '79. Of course, they had the Hep yo-yo sports balls in the 50s, but then there was a period of a few decades there where I don't think they made any yo-yo ball type of toys. But I consider them yo-yo balls, not yo-yos, but they're in the prize package, whatever they are. And just to the right is a Duncan contestant pin. That's from the 50s, 60s. These usually run 10, 12 bucks on eBay. There's a Pro Yo first place patch. And just below that, there is one of those unusual, unique Duncan Yoyos. That is the Velvet Yo-Yo, the first velvet. Well, actually, the first velvet was a wooden yo-yo, believe it or not. I think they called it a suede. But this is more velvety on the plastic model. The first one was made in '72, and it says 1972 on it. This one doesn't have a date, and they made that in the mid-'70s. I think they were $1.49 when they were made. The red and blue velvet yo-yos tend to be more collectible because of the sexual undertones, or so I am told. Loose like this, these typically sell in the $15 to $25 range in packages, usually from about $25 to $35. And here we have a Duncan Cross Flags reproduction yo-yo. The most important thing about that yo-yo is to know how to tell it apart from the original. But it's pretty easy. It doesn't have a paint stripe like the originals did. And there's other details on the logo that makes them easy to tell apart. Right next to that is a Duncan Metal Drifter yo-yo. That's brand spanking new, and those sell for about $29 on the Duncan website. So a nice little thing there in the prize package. And next to that, we've got a couple of Spectra Star yo-yos. The Enterprise from Star Trek, which is what I think is the only good collectible Spectra Star Trek yo-yo. And then we've got the Batman Glow yo-yo, which is kind of cool. There's a Hummingbird Trickster. That's the laminated wood yo-yo. Those are very nice. Now, here we have an original Duncan Cross Flags yo-yos from the 60s. This is easy, as you can see. There's that big white stripe right down the middle of it, which that reproduction didn't have. And then, of course, the logo on this one has a little registered trademark under the word yo-yo, which it does not have on the reproduction. And this is a nice freehand yo-yo. Generally, these sell on the Duncan website for about 15 bucks. And right next to that is the BC Wooden Blackbird yo-yo. There are a couple of design variations of this yo-yo, but you can usually pick them up for about $8-10 bucks. And then, of course, most importantly is the Doc Lucky's Yo-Yo Talk Trivia Champion shirt, which you can win if you have not won a trivia contest on this show before. My understanding is these are highly sought after by supermodels, but very few people will trade this shirt for sexual favors, I understand, because you can only win one. And hey, would you rather have this forever or just a one-night stand? Okay, it's about time to check out the value of our prize package for this evening. Whoa! $198. That ain't bad. That ain't bad. Good luck to everybody on the pop quiz. Okay, so Kim Simcoe wanted to know if that velvet lit up under black lights, and I have to go back to the 70s on that and think about it a bit. I don't think so. I guess I'll take one into my bedroom and hold it up against my Elvis painting, my velvet Elvis painting that I have over my bed and see. Or you can just win it and somebody hold it under black light and let me know. And if it does, hold it up next to the the lava lamp and see if it does anything when you hold it up next to the lava lamp too. And then Rick Renz had a comment about loop the loops being a weapon of offense. I would say this: I have watched Sean try and practice loop the loops, and it looks like a tool of self-abuse when you watch Sean with that. So he has hit every sensitive area on his body trying loop the loops. So we should get that on film someday too. And just a reminder, I know it was in there, but you do get that ultra cool Yo-Yo Trivia Champion t-shirt if you have not won one of the trivia contests before. So in addition to all that swag, you get that t-shirt as well, and that will be near the end of the show in our pop quiz, so stay tuned for all that. Now, if you're just joining us here in the last few minutes, I will be showing a clip from Knoxville where we are looking at some of the items in Pedro Flores's personal collection. It's some pretty amazing stuff, so stay tuned for that. But before I get to that clip, it's about time for our lightning round. And before I give you the question, we need to know what you are playing for. And I have forgotten, so Sean, show me that. Okay, here it is. Okay, let me look at this and see what's shaking there. That is a Duncan Xt Butterfly. That has a ball bearing transaxle, I believe. Very cool yo-yo. A Duncan wheels there. That's a reproduction of a butterfly yo-yo by Duncan. That's wooden. That is one of those Olympian spin yo-yos. There's another Duncan, and something passed me by there. That Olympic yo-yo there, I think John Gates took one of those apart a couple weeks ago, and I think that was actually a Royal TV yo-yo. If John's watching, please put in the comments there. And there is a metal racer too. Of course, we've got a Duncan baseball cap in there, and a couple of keychain clips. So a lot of cool stuff in there, and all you have to do to win that stuff is answer this next question in our lightning round. So Sean, let me just say this, for the new folks, you must answer in the comment section. The first person that answers the question will be the winner, but you're our tentative winner or our Simcoe until we look at the time code at the end of the show, because sometimes we don't see them come through on the correct time. So we won't know until the end of the show whether you actually won or not, and we'll contact you if you did. So I guess let's go on. Now, on this particular question, you can only answer every 5 seconds, and we will check the time code to make sure you're not answering quicker than that. So, okay, let's go, Sean. Let's play that lightning round question right now. What is the year on this Social Security card that indicates Pedro Flores's birth year? We've got it blotted out there. We know he's born April 29th, but what year was that? What year was that? Pedro Flores. And I said Pedro, but it is Pedro Flores. Trying to get that correct pronunciation. I will slip up because I've been calling him the wrong name for 30 years now. So Pedro Flores, what was his birth year? Birth year. Again, you can only answer once every 5 seconds, but that gives anybody a chance. Just a reminder, Pedro Flores introduced really the yo-yo to the U.S. in about 1928, if that gives you an idea of what kind of years you should be thinking about.
Well, just for everybody out there, we've already tried opening a credit card with the Social Security number. It doesn't work.
It does not work, yes. That is an old card. Very old card, matter of fact.
And we have gotten some really close ones.
We've gotten some close ones, Sean.
I've actually seen two that are just one off.
Wow,
really
that is close.
Right out of the gate, Nicknator coming in very strong.
Nicknator's coming in strong. You guys have got to start typing those in. This is your big chance against the Nicknator.
It is incredible. Man, Jay Madigan's in there fighting against Nick
Oh, Jay's trying to go for two times in a row here.
again. I think so.
Wow, that's great. We
Right?
got the Yo-Yo Trivia King versus, I don't know what we would call Jay Madigan. They both swim, they both play underwater hockey, which makes absolutely no sense that they...
Oh, but wait. Jay and Nick don't get along underwater either. Do you not remember when Jay was against Nick on the wall and gave him a nice headbutt?
Oh, yeah, that is true. Jay does tend to do a little bit of headbutt.
So he's trying to rattle Nick's brain.
Yeah. It's a good way to get.
It
is a good way to get at Nick if you're not underwater, is by beating him in the lightning round trivia contest.
And Jason Cass needs to stop answering the exact same year.
Okay, Jason, if it's not correct the first time you enter it, it's probably not correct the second and third time you enter it. Oh, I mean, what's going on here? I would thought we would have had it by now.
Nick was going in a direction. He switched it up.
Oh, okay.
Man,
all right.
man.
Sean is still looking at...
It's like a horse. Oh, I see it.
Okay, so you got one.
Okay.
Who is it?
It is the most hated person on our show.
Oh my gosh, are you talking about the Nickinator one again?
Yes, the man that lives in the
my gosh.
basement.
Like he needs more
Like
of
a
that
hobbit.
stuff. The what?
He lives in a basement like a hobbit.
Okay, that is, folks. I just want to say this is the Nickinator's life. He is like a hobbit.
He's so good.
Yes.
He's so good at everything, just like the Hobbit was. It's impressive.
Bilbo Baggins, the winner once again. We're going to start calling him Bilbo Baggins instead of the Nickinator. Well, congratulations. You are our Simcoe, the Nickinator. We will see if you hold out to the end of the show. Now, he wasn't answering quicker than every 5 seconds, was he? Because he has a... Okay, well, we are going to check. We are going to check and make sure he hasn't been jerking us around here. So,
what was the number?
I'm sorry. The year was 1893. 1893. That was the number on that card. And I would assume Pedro knows what year he was born since he filled out that card. So, okay, so that was a lot of fun. Congratulations to the Nickinator once again for winning the umpteenth millionth time on our show. So let's see here what we got coming up next. Okay, so folks, if you're just tuning in, I have been promising you a clip from our little adventure. Sean and I went up to Knoxville, Tennessee, where we met with Pedro Flores' grandchildren. It turns out that Pedro Flores kept a lot of memorabilia from his early years that nobody knew about. And for some of the family members, it was the first time they had seen the items. About 20 years ago, their mother took the items in to be appraised at the Antique Roadshow. You can see them there looking at the yo-yo items. And of course, the experts were flummoxed with putting a value on the items because they had no expertise in yo-yo history. And that was the last these items had been seen in probably until just recently. And I just can't thank his grandkids enough. That would be Kevin and Christy, for allowing us to spend time with them and letting us film these very historical pieces. They have been very careful to preserve. So I'm going to show you a little clip from our adventure. You're going to love this stuff. There will be a lot more to come. If you follow our group page, you'll see many fantastic photos from Kevin Walters that he's been posting out there of this collection. But I think even more fascinating is all of the paperwork and the history which we are discovering about the early years of the yo-yo in the United States and how Pedro Flores influenced the yo-yo community basically for his entire life. He was quite a fellow, and more about that later. But right now, I want to show you this cool clip from Knoxville, Tennessee from a couple weeks ago. Sean, roll that film. I am here with Christine and Kevin, the middle block there. These are the grandchildren of Pedro Flores, and we have been going through, and this is the most amazing day, I think, of my life in the last 20 years or so. We've been going through his collection. It turns out he was a yo-yo collector too, and it's got amazing stuff, amazing history. And I just want to come over here. Let's look at some of these items here. that we've found, and I am just going to, first of all, just right here. This is his knife. Let me show you this. This is his carving knife. This is Pedro Flores's carving knife, and you've seen all those wonderful carvings. That's where they all started with him, and then many of the Filipino demonstrators after him then continued to carve yo-yos. But this is what got it started all right here. That is his carving knife that carved probably hundreds and hundreds of yo-yos. So just important history there. Let me just show you the other side there. The only thing that would be better is if his name was on it. I'm just going to pull out a random drawer here. For yo-yo collectors, you would go just absolutely ape over this. I am just amazed at what we're seeing. Now, there's, of course, just the standard Flores yo-yo. You can see the shape and style, the stamp seal. But notice, this one has a stripe on it. Right there, check that out. That is a striped, painted striped yo-yo. A lot of his early yo-yos, we don't see that. And then, to make it even better, here is a double striped Flores yo-yo. How's that checking out there? Huh? Would you like to have one of those in your collection? And then we get into the jeweled yo-yos. It turns out Flores first sold his yo-yos in a jewelry shop. And guess what? He started adding rhinestones to help with the sales. And so therefore, now we know where the rhinestones in yo-yos came from. It was from Pedro Flores. So learn something historical about that. So just by going through the collection, we're finding out amazing things. Now I want to do, and here's one of my favorite things is we all know if it isn't a Duncan, it isn't a yo-yo, but check this out. Oh, I wonder where they got that phrase from. Check that out. If it isn't a Flores, it isn't a yo-yo. So looks like that was a phrase that was appropriated by the Duncan Yoyo company. But anyway, and look at all these seals. It's just amazing. And of course, Flores was very good friends with Joe Radovan of the Royal Yo-Yo Company. And there's all kinds of royal stuff here. Here's the junior little beanie cap that they gave out as prizes. And there's so many royal yo-yos in here. It's just amazing. Here's a t-shirt, a Royal Champion t-shirt. Again, this is all part of Pedro Flores's collection. So I'm gonna just have a little fun here. I'm gonna randomly open just some yo-yos here out of this box and see what we come up with here. Okay, so check this out. Here is the Empress satellite yo-yo. This is the Duncan knockoff. And if you check that out, it is minty mint. I've never seen one in such a good condition. It has the price tag 29 cents. So again, not as valuable as the satellite Duncan yo-yos, but certainly an off-label satellite that most collectors want to have in their collection. And what a great condition it's in. That was just amazing. Let's see what else we got here in this one. Yo-yo, I have 4 plastic top Tricks Deluxe. There you go, look at that. Now that's a marbleized plastic yo-yo, and that was back when they were first starting with the plastic yo-yos. And you know it was early plastic when they say plastic on it, because that was the selling point, that it was plastic, not wood. Let's see what's in here. Oh, look at this. This is amazing. Check that out. There is a Duncan gold seal yo-yo. Look at that seal, minty mint. I mean, these are not uncommon, but to see such a seal in such a pristine condition, amazing, just amazing. These are just random things I'm going through right now. Let's see what else we got here. Just pull out another one. Here's one of my favorite yo-yos, collectible-wise, because it's got such history. This is a this is a Royal Butterfly. It's from the 50s or early 60s. And let's see if we can center that right there. Now, that is a butterfly yo-yo. And it says Yo-Yo on it and Butterfly. And this yo-yo was used in the trial between Duncan and Royal when they were battling over not only the yo-yo trademark, but the butterfly trademark. Now, Duncan lost the yo-yo trademark in that lawsuit, but they got the butterfly. So they had to quit making this yo-yo. So they only made a few of these. And this one is like mint condition. Beautiful, beautiful historical piece right there. Let me just do one or two more. Oh, here's something that's pretty amazing. This is a Yo-Yo top. Now, you've probably heard of the Yo-Yo top from Goody. Well, here is the Yo-Yo top right there. Can you check that out? Look at that. It's got a little peg there. It can be used as a top or a yo-yo. Top or a yo-yo. And that is maybe the very first yo-yo top made. We'd have to do our research on it, but I don't know one earlier than this. And it's got some holes in it, which makes me believe that this is a whistling top, but I would not want to throw it. This is fun. Let's just do one more here. Oh, here's another great one. This is a Dynaglow skill top. Remember, that is the first glow yo-yo. Let's see there. Can you get that in focus right there? All right, that is our first glow yo-yo from the 50s, and that one's in mint condition too. So I'm finding amazing things here, and you may be sitting back thinking, oh my gosh, look at all that great stuff. But that is, if you can see the paperwork here and the stuff and the photographs that we're finding, I just want to. This is a baby photo of your father, and this is Pedro's son. And what's he got? He's got a yo-yo, and he ended up being a very good yo-yo demonstrator as well. We've got some nice photos. We'll put a photo up right now of him when he was in the military demonstrating a yo-yo. But he was also a yo-yo demonstrator. And he thought the yo-yo was dead, I guess, when he was older. He had no idea that there was such a passion for collecting in the history of the yo-yo. Thank God your grandmother kept all this stuff. And some of the stuff you told me you had never even seen before. At least you hadn't. You had been just going through. Kevin, who's been posting things on our Facebook page, has been it's just amazing each week when you see a new thing you've never seen before pop up. So we are still going through, we're taking pictures and photographs, we're finding out so much history that we didn't know about the yo-yo, but we had to film a little bit right now just to show you guys out there what we're finding, and we're working on a documentary, and it's just really, really exciting. And I can't thank you guys enough for letting us in your home, and we've been here for hours, and we've just kind of scratching the surface, it seems like, of all this great stuff. So much more to come on Pedro Flores, stuff we didn't know about. I just couldn't believe it. He loved to swim. He would dive for octopi, you said, and they would eat those. He played the violin. He was real active in the Filipino community. Of course, the inventor of several different things, which I'll be talking about in later episodes and in the documentary. Not only the yo-yo, but the high-low, which was an interesting toy from the 50s. And just incredible stories, that we didn't know about. And how he impacted the early history of the yo-yo, we're finding out. I found some Flores yo-yos, definitely had slip strings on them. Oh, I've got to show you this one other yo-yo. Wait a minute, before we go. Okay, this is pretty amazing. So Kevin was showing me this yo-yo, and there is an interesting story behind it. When I first looked at the yo-yo, I go, oh, well, it's an early Flores painted yo-yo. That's what I thought, a little wood yo-yo. Except it's not wood, it's tin. And look, I'm going to bring it up close. Can you see those holes in it? Check those holes out. That's a Whistler yo-yo. He tried to get the Whistler before they had the whistling yo-yo, and nobody would listen to him. So this, what I'm holding right now, is probably the world's first whistling yo-yo, and that is just amazing. So the first jeweled yo-yo, the first slipstring yo-yo, the first whistling yo-yo, all goes back to Pedro wait to share more in the future. But what a great weekend for me. This has just been an amazing day. So wanted to share a little bit of this history. You know, much more will be coming in the future. So keep in touch. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's so much stuff. There is so much stuff. Look at this. This is the original. This is the, original kind of promo piece, I would say, from when he had his yo-yo company. I mean, it's a big yo-yo. This is like the size of the award yo-yos that they gave out as Duncan, and it's hand painted by Pedro himself. It's got a little design on the back, but this is from Santa Barbara, California. And as we all know, if you know your yo-yo history, which you should if you've been watching my show, that is where they ran the very first yo-yo contest that started the very first yo-yo craze in America. So we that in the yo-yo community have a lot to thank Pedro Flores for. Amazing man, amazing man. So I'll stop there. We'll have more stuff on the show in the future. And then, like I said, we are working on a nice documentary on the history of the yo-yo, and it will definitely be centered around Pedro Flores. That weekend, every drawer we pulled out, every box that was cracked open, there was a historical surprise inside. For somebody that loves the history of the yo-yo as much as I do, I think it was as much fun as a 3-year-old in a ball pit at Chuck E. Cheese's, but without the viruses. And as you know, that comment where I was holding it with my non-gloved hand, let me just say this. When you put a cotton glove on and you're holding a very polished wooden yo-yo, that sucker is very slippery, and you know, it's kind of like, it took me back to the nightmares of, most of you probably have not delivered babies. I have delivered a few. You put on rubber gloves and you have a baby pop out in those rubber gloves. It's all wet and slippery and all that. I mean, you really have to be careful not to drop it. And that, I will tell you, will get you a very low grade in your OBGYN rotation if you drop a baby that's being born. So it was like holding little babies with that cotton glove. I didn't want to drop any of those. So I was using my ungloved hand for security reasons only. So, okay, before we get to the pop quiz tonight, I want to talk about a few things that I've noticed that have sold on eBay, or in some cases not have sold on eBay. First, let's look at this VHS tape of the Smothers Brothers Yo-Yo Man video. I think everybody watching is aware of this landmark video, which was released in the 80s and arguably the tinderbox for the modern yo-yo renaissance. But check out that price! Yes, it was signed by Dick Smothers, but I can just say that I don't think that's worth $10,000. Usually you can pick these tapes up for about $4 to $5. If they're signed, I would think maybe $20. But if you happen to have $10,000 lying around the house doing nothing and you want an autographed copy of the Smothers Brothers VHS videotape, you are in luck because that is available. And I hope they throw in the VHS tape player too for that price. The next item is one that I wish I would have seen because I would have liked to have been on it. This auction slipped by me. I think everybody watching knows I have a little fetish for character yo-yos, especially the cartoon character-based yo-yos. And this was a display of sports balls from Hanna-Barbera. I have seen these sports balls before loose. I never knew where their origin was. I've got a few in the collection, but I don't really attribute any value to these, but this on the Hanna-Barbera display with Yogi Bear and the Flintstones and Huckleberry Hound and all that stuff makes it pretty cool. And even though the yo-yos are worthless, it does help us kind of date those yo-yos probably to the early 70s. So if you've got a couple of those hanging around in your collection and you wondered where they came from, there you go. The next item is a yo-yo auction that really popped. This was a yo-yo lot, and I kind of was surprised when I saw the price, $257. So I had to take another look at that lot, and the only thing I could think of is one of those was really special. And then, you see the A-locks, which, on the beginners, and you go, well, those aren't anywhere close to bringing it to those prices. But right there, you see that genuine Big G Yo-Yo logo, which is obviously probably a pre-Duncan before he put the name on the Yo-Yo. So very early Duncan Yoyo. And I suspect the person that purchased this was just buying the lot for that one yo-yo. And even though they have some nice A-locks yo-yos for trade now. So I thought it was an interesting auction and a good pickup on the folks that noticed that rare yo-yo in the lot. So congratulations on whoever picked that one up. And here's another one that caught my eye. It is a Duncan freehand yo-yo, the original freehand. It sold for $405, and that's about as high as I've seen a freehand go for. Early freehands seem to be going up and up and up in value, and if you've got one of the original ones in the package, I would say that of the modern yo-yos out there, and when I say modern yo-yos, I mean 21st century yo-yos rather than 20th century yo-yos, the yo-yos made in the last 20 years. The freehands are going to be the hot collectibles of the future of the modern yo-yo. So that's a good example of that happening right now. Also on the high price list here is a Goody Twirler Champion patch from, check out the date there, 1940. This is one of those chenille patches, and I would say this was right around the time Goody yo-yos were first put out on the market. As I found out this weekend or two ago, one of the first principal demonstrators for Goody, which I did not know, was none other than Pedro Flores. That's right, I saw a contract with him from 1941 where he signed on to run their campaigns. So Pedro was right involved with Goody yo-yos from the very beginning. And that's... But anyway, that's an interesting patch, and it sold for $232, which is a pretty high patch for a price for a patch. That patch is certainly unique, and the first one I've seen of the chenille type of patches from Goody anyway. This next yo-yo caught my eye because of the sale price. This is a Dungeons and Dragons, advanced Dungeons and Dragons promo yo-yo. I thought it might be cool to pick up for my middle son for a stocking stuffers. He's into Dungeons and Dragons and is a dragon master at times. But then I saw it sold for a cool $200, and I thought, well, maybe I'll get him a t-shirt instead. So obviously I think it went high because it is cross-collectible, and I don't think it's the yo-yo collectors that are putting it up to that $200 value. Those folks that bid that up certainly must be Dungeons and Dragons collectors. They feel it's worthy of this sort of price. So I'll wait until one is a lot cheaper before I pick one of those up for my collection. And finally, here is a yo-yo we've all seen before. It's a Duncan yo-yo from the early 80s. This is a Tron Glow yo-yo. We all know that this is pretty collectible. But look at the price, $81. That's pretty darn good for a Tron yo-yo. And I don't think that I've seen that high before. I could be wrong, but it is mint on card, and I think those type of cross-collectible yo-yos are going to hold their value quite well. And taking a look at yo-yos in general, I think there's been a bit of a spike in prices here recently on some of the collectible yo-yos. I think this has something to do with the stock market going up because yo-yo values tend to follow the stock market. As the stock market goes up and other collectibles go up, so do yo-yos. So it may be a good time for those folks that are thinking about selling off some of their duplicates. It may be a very bad time for those guys that are trying to pick up cool items for reasonable prices. We shall see. Okay, we're to the point in the show where we need to be thinking about our pop quiz. You've already seen what you're playing for a little bit earlier in the show. Just a reminder, to win the pop quiz, you must answer both questions correctly in the same comment section. The first person to answer both questions correctly is our tentative winner or our Simcoe. We will let you know at the end of the show whether you are our official winner or not. Sean, let's jump into it and run that pop quiz right now. What company made this TV yo-yo, and what is the family relationship of this yo-yo demonstrator to Pedro Flores? All right. Now that yo-yo to the right there has a picture, a photograph inserted in it of Pedro Flores and his wife. That's probably from the early 60s, and he was actually demonstrating. I'm going to give you a hint. He was demonstrating for that company and running campaigns for it when this yo-yo came out. This is a TV yo-yo, and that should give you a hint too for all those folks out there that are collectors. You should be able to pick up on what company made that yo-yo. And this fella, and we're talking about the guy to the right who is the demonstrator. I don't know who the old dude is in the glasses. But the guy to the right has a family relationship with Pedro Flores. What is that family relationship? You must answer both questions in the same comment section. And the Nickinator is probably typing as we speak right now. You could conceivably guess them both. The first one you kind of have to know, I guess. You can think of yo-yo companies in the early 60s, because I think Pedro Flores died around 63 or so.
Man, look, I've seen some that are close. We're getting the first part. We're not getting the second part yet.
Oh, the second part is off. First part is somebody's got the first part, then is what you're saying, is a little hint.
Correct.
Okay, so the first part, if you're looking at other people's comments, somebody has nailed it, but they haven't got them both together in the same comment. And you have to get them both in the same comment section to win.
Nick is just going hard at this comment.
Yeah, Nick is going hard. All right. If I had to put money on this, I would say the Nickinator would be the pun I'd be putting my $2 bet on, but you know, he's been beat before. Not very often.
Should you give them a hint towards the second one?
Well, I just said it's a family relation. I mean, there can only be so many family relations you can think of.
Well, I mean, I see them all repeating.
It's not grandmother. I will eliminate grandmother and mother.
And sister.
And sister, yes. And stepsister. Not a stepsister either. So you can eliminate all those as possible family relationships. But everything else is open. And let me tell you what year that picture was taken. That picture was taken around, I would guess, 1931, if that helps.
Jay cracks me up.
What did Jay say?
Jay said Duncan and first cousin. He's going far out there.
Okay, not quite there. Not quite there, Jay. Not quite there. And either answer, I'll give you another hint. Neither one of those answers are correct, Jay, on that Duncan and first cousin. But that does bring up the possibility, since we know that the yo-yo company has already been named, one of those or more of those comments out there have listed the correct yo-yo company, so you can kind of do the little cheating and look over at the other person's paper during the test here and see what they put down, if you can figure out what that family relationship is. And I'm actually surprised there's only
Nick says Duncan and college roommate brother's son.
Okay, now this is a family relationship. This is a...
look who has made an appearance in the comment section. Kevin Walters himself.
Oh, well, now wait a minute. I don't know that Kevin gets to answer this. That's too... Kevin, when you got a family member there... Is Kevin throwing out answers?
No, he's not.
Okay, all right. Well, he's being a good guy because I know Kevin would get this one. because he's lived it. That's his
Let's,
family.
we're not in this- we're not in the
Those
right
pictures are right out of Kevin's personal collection from Pedro Flores too. So
can we go ahead and give him an extra little something so I'm not sitting?
okay. I'm going to give you a hint. The person that was the company president was Joe Radovan for the Yo-Yo company. How's that? That should help.
You think?
Yeah, I think so. And so we know.
Tim, I think you're a few generations off when you say grandson.
Okay, so that photograph was taken. Okay, the photograph, I'll tell you the person in the photograph. The photograph is Jerry Shrunk. Jerry Shrunk. Now famous yo-yo demonstrator from the 30s. Worked Duncan campaigns with Pedro Flores.
Oh, we're getting closer.
Worked closely.
Jason Katz is getting closer.
Because they are very, very close in age, if you think about it.
Rick Rentz, this does not mean grandpa. You went in the wrong direction.
Okay, you got to figure Pedro Flores is probably in his late 20s there. Jerry Shrunk is probably in his maybe early 20s.
We're getting closer.
Early to mid 20s. So, I mean, those two guys are only a few years apart in age.
Man, Tim and Jason are getting nice and close to it.
All right, we should.
We got a.
Do we got a winner?
Oh, we see one.
Oh, we got a winner. Finally. Boy, I thought this was going to go a lot quicker. Okay. So who did we have?
So the Simcoe is the Simcoe.
Oh, Simcoe is the Simcoe for this evening.
But
all right.
This usually doesn't bode well for him.
Yeah, it does not bode well for the Simcoe. Okay. So the answers were, obviously, that is the Royal TV Yo-Yo. Joe Radovan was the president of that company, and Pedro Flores also demonstrated for that company in his later years. And that was his brother-in-law, Jerry Shrunk. He was married to Jerry Shrunk's sister. So that is the familial connection there. Brother-in-law and the Royal TV Yo-Yo were the correct answers. Tim Simcoe is our tentative winner, or our Simcoe, and we will see if that holds up till the end of the show. It never seems to go well for Tim Simcoe.
Luck, before you get off this,
okay.
Nick was so close to tasting that tentative spot. He didn't listen when we were talking about the names of the company. He put Duncan and then brother-in-law.
Oh my gosh. So at one time, did he have Royal though?
He had Royal.
Oh, so he had the two pieces, but he couldn't put the whole puzzle together. That's too bad, Nickinator. I know everybody is crying a river for you right now, the Nickinator. But the Nickinator did come in first in that lightning round early in the show, so he's not going away with nothing. So, well, anyway, that about wraps up this episode of Yo-Yo Talk. We hope you tune in next month. It is the first Thursday of the month, which will be August the 5th. That'll be our next live show. Keep posting on our Facebook group page. We love the comments, and we especially love people posting yo-yos and photos, especially you, Kevin. We love that. And we always enjoy the commentary and the discussions. You can also check us out on Instagram. We post every other or every third day an interesting yo-yo with a little bit of commentary from me. And you should check out the Yo-Yo Talk channel on YouTube, so you can find all the old episodes there. A definite binge-worthy channel. And don't forget to sign up for our Facebook group page, so you get notifications when the show is going live. And so you don't want to miss out on all that fun. And I want to remind you, you can never have too many yo-yos. This is Doc Lucky signing off until August 5th. See you then.